welcome to this week's Mungle Show. I'm Matt Mungle. Coming up this time around, Ron Howard's going to talk about his brand new film, Frost Nixon. Plus, we're going to have a trailer for the new TNT series, Leverage, which premieres Sunday, December the 7th. And for all you Star Trek fans out there, we have the brand new trailer of the J.J. Abrams-produced Star Trek movie, which comes out in May next year. All that and more right here for you on the Mungle Show. There's an amazing new film in theaters right now called Slumdog Millionaire, directed by Danny Boyle. I had a chance to chat with Danny, and I asked him, based on his experience in India and looking back over his career, does he consider himself a genius? Did he get lucky? Was it written in stone? Or did he cheat a little? Here's his response.
It's all those things. Movie making is all those things, I'm afraid. Genius is about 1% of it, which comes along occasionally. Most of the time it's cunning and stealth. And for me, the most important thing about a film is the spirit in which it's made. And I try to create a spirit amongst the crew that are filming it, and that you respect where you are, wherever it is, and who you're filming. You know, even though you're employing actors to represent people or whatever. So that did me a lot of good, because I've followed that my whole career. I really do believe that, more important than anything. And that helped in India, because I think people sensed that that spirit was good, and it helps you work there, definitely. So I'm not kind of blowing my own trumpet. I do believe in that as a kind of philosophy throughout all the films. And your spirit comes across, you're able to convey your spirit much more accurately to people. So you learn from everything that you do, you try to keep learning.
That's Danny Boyle talking about his new film, Slumdog Millionaire. It should be in most of your art house theaters around. If you find it, check it out. If it's not coming near you, make sure you catch the DVD when it comes out. Speaking of DVDs, there's a couple of great ones on our website that we're giving you a chance to win. One of them is Prince Caspian, the second installment of the Narnia film. Also, Angelina Jolie's new film, Wanted, out on DVD this week. A chance for you to enter to win both of those on DVD. Just go to mungleshow.com. Frost Nixon hits theaters this weekend. It's directed by Ron Howard, starring Frank Langella and Michael Sheen. It's the story of the interview between David Frost and ex-President Richard Nixon. This thing's already getting a lot of attention in the press. Some are saying Best Picture of the Year. Some are saying Best Director for Ron Howard. I thought it was okay. I'm not sure if it lived up to some of the other films directed by Ron Howard, but it was definitely interesting. I like the dynamic between the characters, and I think you'll find it an enjoyable movie to watch, especially if you're a history buff at all. In this clip, Richard Nixon and David Frost have an intense conversation over the phone leading up to their final interview.
We're not going to let that happen, either of us. We're going to show those bums. We're going to make them choke on our continued success, our continued headlines, our continued awards and power and glory. We are going to make those mothers choke. Am I right?
You are. Except only one of us can.
Yes. And I shall be your fiercest adversary. I shall come at you with everything I got. Because the limelight can only shine on one of us.
There's always a fine balance in creating a film based on true events. Here, director Ron Howard talks about how he enters into that perspective.
Every film version of a set of real events is in some way a kind of a fictionalization, because you're condensing, you're collapsing, and so forth. But there's the instance like, say, Cinderella Man or Apollo 13, where you're basically, it's almost a recreation. That's what you're really offering. Then there's a movie like A Beautiful Mind, where you're using an entire life and many of the facts in a life to offer a sort of a springboard, but what you're really trying to do is go beyond that to a sort of a deeper truth, which is, here's what mental illness feels like. And that doesn't have so much to do with the facts of a life or a case. It has to do with, a sort of a disease and the way it impacts an individual. With Frost Nixon, what Peter Morgan has done is a kind of a blend of the two. On the one hand, a lot of the greatest dialogue comes right out of the transcripts. And, but it is so much more than a recreation of the interviews. That's what was kind of dazzling about the writing, and that's what was very exciting about directing the movie.
The role of Richard Nixon is played by Frank Langella, who maybe doesn't have the voice down, maybe doesn't have quite the characteristics down of Richard M. Nixon, but here he explains how it is playing that type of a character.
If you're playing somebody who's famous and world famous and has a whole host of mannerisms that are terribly identifiable immediately and different than anybody else's, you're honor bound to watch them and somehow incorporate them, but not imitate them. Not specifically imitate them, because then I would be a stand-up doing an impression, and I was determined not to do an impression.
Switching over to television for a second, there's a new series that kicks off on TNT this Sunday night, December the 7th. It's called Leverage, starring Timothy Hutton. It's about a group of hackers who get together and go up against big corporations, sort of their way to get even. In this next clip we're about to see, it'll sort of give you an idea of what this television show is about. Again, it's called Leverage, kicks off on TNT this Sunday night, December the 7th.
Yeah, I mean, how do you think I got most of my stolen merchandise back? I mean, this guy, he's greedy, thinks he's smart, he's the best kind of mark.
He does think he got rid of us.
Element of surprise.
What's in it for me? Payback, and if it goes right, a lot of money.
What's in it for me?
A lot of money, and if it goes right, payback. Hardison.
I was just gonna send 1,000 porno magazines to his office, but hell yeah, man, let's kick him up.
What's in it for you? He used my son.
That was a clip of Leverage, the new television series on TNT starring Timothy Hutton. I'm Matt Mungle, you're on The Mungle Show. Well, for all you Star Trek fans, those of you who just love Star Trek, die-hard Star Trek fans, you probably know that there's a new Star Trek movie coming out next year, May 2009, and it's directed by J.J. Abrams. Now, me personally, I was never a Star Trek fan. Didn't like the television show, never really watched any of the movies, but I'm a huge J.J. Abrams fan, and when I saw this trailer, I was thinking to myself, you know, this might be the point in time when I get hooked on some Star Trek. So here's the brand new trailer from Star Trek. Again, it hits theaters May 2009, directed, produced by J.J. Abrams, here for you on The Mungle Show.
What is your name?
My name is James Tiberius Kirk.
You've always had a hard time finding your place in this world, haven't you? Never knowing your true worth. You can settle for less than ordinary life. Or do you feel like you were meant for something better? Something special?
You will always be a child of two worlds, and fully capable of deciding your own destiny. The question you face is, which path will you choose?
Are you afraid or aren't you? I will not allow you to lecture me. Then why do you stop me?
Prepare to fire all weapons.
I like this ship. It's exciting. Space is disease and danger, wrapped in darkness and silence. Buckle up. The wait is over.
Well, that pretty much does it for us this week. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us on this new installment, this new video thing we're doing called The Mungle Show, making that transition from radio and podcasting into video, just to sort of bring you a visual look at what's going on in the entertainment world. We appreciate you guys being with us. Tell all your friends about it. It's a grassroots movement. Send them over to mungleshow.com to check out the episodes. And we look forward to hearing from you. Email us from our website. Check us out on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Go to our MySpace, all at mungleshow.com. Till next week, I'm Matt Mungle.